The unprepared mind cannot see the outstretched hand of opportunity. I have been trying to point out that in our lives chance may have an astonishing influence, and, if I may offer advice to the young laboratory worker, it would be this: never neglect an extraordinary appearance or happening. It may be, usually is, in fact, a false alarm that leads to nothing, but may on the other hand be the clue provided by fate to lead you to some important advance. It is possible that in 10 years' time penicillin itself will be a back number and will be replaced by something better. It is quite certain, though, that to displace penicillin any newcomer will have to be very, very good. Penicillin cures, but wine makes people happy. The greatest possibility of evil in self-medication, with penicillin, is the use of too small doses. Instead of clearing up the infection, the microbes are educated to resist penicillin, and a host of penicillin-fast organisms is bred out which can be passed on to other individuals, and perhaps from there to others until they reach someone who gets a septicemia or a pneumonia which penicillin cannot save. You do not know what you will find. You may set out to find one thing and end up by discovering something entirely different. For the birth of something new, there has to be a happening. Newton saw an apple fall. James Watt watched a kettle boil. Röntgen fogged some photographic plates. And these people knew enough to translate ordinary happenings into something new. It is the lone worker who makes the first advance in a subject. The details may be worked out by a team, but the prime idea is due to enterprise, thought, and perception of an individual. If penicillin can cure those that are ill, Spanish sherry can bring the dead back to life. Suggested remedy for the common cold: a good gulp of whiskey at bedtime. It's not very scientific, but it helps. Nature makes penicillin. I just found it. One sometimes finds what one is not looking for. When I woke up just after dawn on September 28, 1928, I certainly didn't plan to revolutionize all medicine by discovering the world's first antibiotic or bacteria killer. But I guess that was exactly what I did. One sometimes finds what one is not looking for. It was astonishing that for some considerable distance around the mold growth the staphylococcal colonies were undergoing lysis. What had formerly been a well-grown colony was now a faint shadow of its former self. I was sufficiently interested to pursue the subject. The discovery of penicillin was a triumph of accident, a fortunate occurrence which happened while I was working on a purely academic bacteriological problem. In my first publication I might have claimed that I had come to the conclusion, as a result of serious study of the literature and deep thought, that valuable antibacterial substances were made by molds and that I set out to investigate the problem. That would have been untrue, and I preferred to tell the truth, that penicillin started as a chance observation. My only merit is that I did not neglect the observation and that I pursued the subject as a bacteriologist. My publication in 1929 was the starting point of the work of others who developed penicillin, especially in the chemical field. Penicillin sat on a shelf for 10 years while I was called a quack. It is not difficult to make microbes resistant to penicillin in the laboratory by exposing them to concentrations not sufficient to kill them, and the same thing has occasionally happened in the body. The time may come when penicillin can be bought by anyone in the shops. Then there is the danger that the ignorant man may easily underdose himself and by exposing his microbes to non-lethal quantities of the drug make them resistant.